Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Just making sure my mic is working really good. Can you hear me? If you're joining the live, let me know that you can hear me, guys. Just making sure my live is going really, really good here. Let me make sure. I'm actually testing it on another device. Can you hear me? Just
Awesome.
making sure my mic is working. Yeah, just making sure. Hey everyone, happy Tuesday and happy Thanksgiving in advance for those who are on the side of the world and who celebrate Thanksgiving. Listen here, tonight is going to be a special live stream because a few things have been burning in my heart, and I believe it's something that is going to be transformational for you. Now, you need to understand something here. Black America is going to spend $2 trillion in 2025 alone, and that is more than the GDP of Mexico or Spain. Yet we only control 3% of the wealth. So the question really is, if we can spend that much, why are we still broke? Why are we still in the lowest level of the economic totem pole? And it's important to understand because today I actually saw a picture that really blew my mind. And I wanted to share with you because that is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this live today. Because when I saw that picture, it was funny at the same time, confusing, but understanding. And let me share that with you. Let me just give me a minute here. Let me share that with you. And you would realize exactly why it is important for us to take our financial life very seriously. Because if you don't take your financial life seriously, you end up a casualty, and the world is cruel to poor people. Worst of all, if you're poor, you're broke, and you're sick, that will even be a double whammy. So, here, look at this picture on your screen right here. I stumbled on this somewhere on Instagram today and I took a screenshot. I saved it. I actually put it on my WhatsApp status, and a lot of people burst out laughing. Some were actually crying. But the smart ones, I also shared the stock ticker for the company that owns this brand, Louis Vuitton. I shared their stock ticker on the US stock market for those who are smart, who know exactly what to do to go buy shares of that company. Now, this Timberland boots has been designed by Pharrell. Pharrell is an award-winning music producer and artist. For those of you who listen to American pop music, he played the song be, I think because I'm happy, he played the song Happy, right? And many other songs. He's produced a lot of great songs and great award-winning music for different artists. But in this case, the guy has been partnering with some fashion brands and some different brands to move forward, not only his brand, to make money off that. And the brands are also leveraging his brand to sell into the black community. For anybody who knows anything about urban fashion, Timberland is a very popular pair of shoes, and it's a popular brand, especially amongst the black urban population, because it's a brand synonymous with rap music, with R&B, slow jam, and those kind of things. And so when I saw this picture, it hit me immediately because they are redesigning it in collaboration with Pharrell, and because they are stamping on the Louis Vuitton brand on it, and they are going to be selling it for $85,000, guys. $85,000. And there's no question who they are targeting here, right? They are targeting the above middle class black people who love Timberland, who know about the brand, who have always loved Timberland, but now maybe have some money or they can have credit cards. They're trying to tell them, listen, of course, you've been buying our Louis Vuitton bags, you've been buying our Gucci belts, you've been buying our Gucci t-shirts and our Gucci suits. Now you've been trying to separate yourself from everybody else, right? You've been trying to indicate that you are a little different, you are richer, you are more successful, you are more elevated. This is one more step for you to really prove your worth. Why don't you come and get this Timberland? $85,000. You are the big guy. You are the big lady in the city. By the time you walk up the street, you come out of that BMW, you are bouncing, you are looking good. You are the main attraction for that day. And then the funny part of it is somebody said they'll wait for the Timu version. But that's not really what is the deal here, guys. That's not really why I'm doing this today, right? I want us to understand something, guys. This is serious stuff. I know I started off joking, but I want you to understand something. This is serious stuff. There is a massive problem, and we need to address that problem head on. we need to address the black and black immigrant spending problem. Listen, over 50% of first generation black immigrants in this country feel the internal pressure to be successful, but they feel disconnected and confused. They don't know where to start, right? 65% of African immigrants in the US earn above living average, but only 18% feel confident in their financial future. I want some of those statistics to sink in. You know why? Because the spending problem is our number one challenge. Yes, I know sometimes the economic data indicates as if it's the earnings problem. It's actually the spending problem. $2 trillion is what is projected to be spent by Black America in 2025. And in this $2 trillion that is going to be spent, I want you to understand the categories that is going to be spent in. The first one is beauty, fashion, and travel. Beauty, fashion, and travel. Those are the top three spending categories for Black America. They are going to be spending 2 trillion this year. In fact, let me take you a step back. We just came through Halloween, and I was reading a report from the New York, was it the New York Times or one of the economic newspapers? And it said America spent 12 billion dollars on, yes, $12 billion on Halloween. And of that amount, 2 billion was spent on pets. 2 billion was spent on pets. So we are talking here, guys, about a certain addiction to expenses, addiction to spending money that is not possible to leave anybody in a financially progressive and comfortable place. And now for the three categories that Black America spends on that, Black America is going to spend their $2 trillion for the year 2025. That is in beauty, in fashion, and in travel. Trying to look beautiful, trying to spend on fashionable things, and trying to travel to vacations people cannot afford. That's why I showed the Timberland at the beginning, because some people are going to buy the Timberland. But the smart people, the ones who understand how the dynamics work, instead of buying the Louis Vuitton purse, instead of buying the Louis Vuitton Timberland, instead of buying the Louis Vuitton suit, they will buy shares of Louis Vuitton company, so that when those shares grow and they produce dividends, then you can take the dividends, which quote unquote is like the profit on those shares, and then you can go splurge on yourself. That is how the progressive think. And I'm doing this live stream today because I want to help a lot of people. We are moving into the holiday season. This is the most pressure-filled time, not only in America, but in most parts of the world where they celebrate Christmas and New Year. This is the time where anxiety, stress is at its highest. This is the time when people are trying to get gifts and people are trying to plan for Christmas. People are trying to do things that is beyond their budget. People are doing things forgetting that there is a tomorrow, that tomorrow is going to come, that after all the celebrations, the euphoria, the joy, the coming of Jesus for those who believe in Christianity, and all the fanfare around this holiday season, your bills will still be looking at you. The debt you owe will still be looking at you. All the different financial challenges you have will still be staring at you. So as you're planning for this season, I want you to keep a few things in mind, right? I want you to understand that where the challenge is coming from is not only from this season of spending, but it's from how, as black people, because most of the people who listen to me are black people. I am a black person. I'm from Africa. I'm an immigrant, but I'm a black immigrant. So a lot of the things I will talk to applies to everybody, but sometimes I have to take the time to talk to my own people. I have to take the time to share some information that can change the minds and hopefully change the lives of the people who are like me. Because America is one of those places where us as black people have been reduced to near nothing by the perceptions that are created, by the economic power we have, by the inability for us to rally the resources, understand how the economic dynamics of this country work, and be able to position ourselves in a place to build wealth. So that way we can afford some of the things we love without necessarily going broke in that process. There is something called broke excellence. Trying to be excellent while broke. Boy, that's a painful combination. Right? But think about it this way. Despite the massive buying power of black America, we control only 3% of the wealth of this country. 95% of the money brought into the hair business, where they sell fake hair, human hair, and all those artificial hair business that most Asians own the stores. Only 3% of those artificial hair businesses are owned by black people, where we give 95% of the revenue for those businesses. Guys, I need you to understand it's not a money making problem, it's a money management problem, guys. It is how the dollars are managed. There's a statistic out there that says an average dollar spends about 42 days in the East Indian community. It spends about 36 days in the Asian community, the Chinese Asian community. And then it spends about 6 hours in the black community. And the average dollar is out of the community. Guys, you need to understand something, especially in this season when people will be tempted to spend more money than they have because they have a credit card. Once you swipe that credit card, you are basically buying off your future. You are basically taking your future and consuming it today. And so when you get to that point in your future, you have to pay a price, because if you don't have nothing to consume, then you have to create something at that point. You'll be older, you'll be less motivated, and that's the time when you will need it the most. Because you need to understand, guys, as black people, we have to really stop the excuse game. We have to be able to look at the things that apply to us straight in the face. Because over 70% of African immigrants own no investment assets beyond a checking account. Over 70% of African immigrants in America own no other investment asset other than a checking account. I spend most of my days talking about investing, how to uncover your purpose, how to understand personal development to build yourself from the inside out, how to learn how to accumulate wealth and build a lasting legacy. You know what? I don't talk about those things because I just lack something to talk about. I talk about those things because they are foundational to how successful you are going to be and how much you can prepare for your future generations to benefit. African immigrants save 4 times more than the average savings rate, but only 5 times less than the average investment rate. Think about that. So, an average African immigrant has the ability to save money but doesn't invest that money. Because there are two steps to it. Savings is good. Savings indicate a certain amount of discipline, a certain amount of postponement of present enjoyment for future gains. But if you don't invest that money to grow, then something called something is going to be eroding that, right? We all know that it's called inflation. Inflation is just a fancy economic term to say your money is going to be worth less as the days go by because the prices are rising. So the same loaf of bread you bought for $2.50 in January of 2025, at the end of 2025 you will need $3 to buy that same loaf of bread, which means therefore that if there's a 3% inflation rate, which is what it is right now, if you save $10,000 at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year you only have 9,990. 9,003% of 10,000 will be $30. So that's $9,970. So guys, you need to understand, savings is not enough. There is no way 70% of African immigrants own no assets other than a checking account. They are saving 4 times more than the average savings rate, but are investing 5 times less than the average investment rate. You will never be able to build wealth saving. That is for sure, right? Because this is mind blowing. More black people have insurance on their cell phones than on their lives and the lives of their loved ones. Guys, I need you to really understand what I'm saying here today. And if you're joining me on the line right now, you're welcome. Please feel free to hit the like button, share this video, invite more people to come and watch. If you find some value in it, go ahead, hit the like button for me, right? And drop a comment down in the comment section. Let me know that you are here. Let me understand that if you, whether you really believe this is the time to really start investing in yourself, and much investing also in assets other than investing in your image. You see, we worry a lot about how people see us, what people think about us, the perception that people have. I just realized that the most successful people really don't care about that. I am not where I'd always hoped to be by this time, but I know that I'm going to be where I plan to be at a certain point in my life. And as I grow older, as I grow more successful with my life, as I start seeing my assets growing, as I was able to walk myself out of bankruptcy, out of foreclosure, out of financial ruin, and started building assets, investing on the stock market, pushing myself towards $1 million in liquid assets and other hard assets, I started realizing that it became less important for me to what people think about me. It didn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. If you notice, when I started doing YouTube, I started off doing YouTube with a suit and a tie. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but at that point, I thought I needed a suit and a tie, so it kind of makes up for some of the other things I thought I lacked. Right? The truth of the matter is, as you start building yourself, you start building your assets, you start understanding your story, you understand your worth, you start understanding that you are enough, you no longer care about those things. You're no longer worried about trying to get an 85,000 pair of Louis Vuitton Timberland boots just so that people think you are richer than you really are, right? So you need to understand history really put the black man behind. We cannot deny that. This is no history lesson. I'm not trying to get into the polemics of all of that, but I want you to understand something about the context, right? History put the black people behind. Yes, there is slavery, there's redlining, Jim Crow laws, there's still racism that runs deep in America. Nobody can deny that. But that's not what is holding us back. What is holding us back today is how we think and what we prioritize. How we think and what we prioritize, guys. The average credit rating for black people is about 620. Do you know that if the black population moves their credit rating to 720 only by 100 percentage points, that will bring in at least 3 to 400 billion dollars more in the black economy and black wealth? Do you know that? Do you know that? So you'll be swiping a credit card to buy an 85 to buy a liability you don't need. You are paying 228% in interest because your credit score is 620 and you're not worried about moving your credit score up, but you're worried about working harder every day by going to work, working double shift, not knowing that by moving your credit score up just 100 percentage point, it takes you to 720. That could be the difference between your mortgage rate of 6% and 6.5%. And that will save you in the course of your 30-year mortgage something upwards of 150 to 200,000 in interest payments. Guys, we need to understand how these things work, guys. It is important. Let's get ourselves educated. We can no longer continue to make excuses because we can no longer continue to give all this myriad of excuses while we are prioritizing the wrong things. While we are prioritizing taking vacations we cannot pay for. We are prioritizing buying clothes we don't even use. We are prioritizing trying to get brand name designer stuff which were not even made for us. The designers, the luxury brands, they didn't design their designer and luxury brands for middle class people. They did not. Gucci was not designing a pair of shoes that cost $2,500 for somebody who makes $60,000 a year. Let's stop the bullshit. Let's stop the lies. Let's stop acting to ourselves as if we are doing better than when we are not, guys. Nobody's perfect. I'm not as successful as I want to be right now, but I finally understood what it takes to get there. I finally understood the idea. I finally got it. And I'm seeing the change happening. I am seeing it. I am seeing the progress. For those who are in my coaching program, they are seeing the progress. They are seeing the movement. They are understanding what it takes to build wealth and earn respect. This is a capitalist system for those who live in America. Those who don't, you need to understand it's important to uncover your purpose. That is fine. It is important to build yourself from inside. It is also important to accumulate wealth. It's not a bad thing. We come from a culture in Africa where we were discouraged to seek to be wealthy. We're discouraged to seek to be rich. We're made to think becoming wealthy means you are bad. If you get rich, it means you've done something wrong. The people who are rich are always evil people. They are wicked people. They are screwing somebody up to become what they are. It's a big lie, guys. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Because those are the things that are going to keep us in the back. Those are the things that are going to hold us back. And we continue with this mentality of spending. Spending. I don't believe that you shouldn't enjoy your life. I don't believe that you shouldn't prioritize the things that give you joy and the things that matter to you. But you must think about affordability. There is a difference when you go to the airport, you buy a business class ticket from a credit card, and somebody who is riding in that same business class who bought that ticket from dividends from his stocks or her stocks on the market. There's a difference. They didn't spend hard earned money, they spend money that money created for them. I want that to sink in. Drop a sign down in the comment section if you're understanding what I'm saying so far. Guys, we need to keep choosing freedom. We need to keep choosing financial advancement. We need to keep choosing elevating ourselves. We need to keep choosing educating ourselves. We need to keep choosing prioritizing investing in ourselves, investing in assets, building legacies. We need to keep choosing those things. Don't fall for temporary pleasures. Don't fall for temporary small excitements, right? Because they say that the dumb ones will always trade their future for moments, but the wise ones will always trade moments for long term gains. I will tell you this, it's not perfect, but you know what? One of the things we do as a family is during Christmas, we have a 19-year-old daughter, a 16-year-old daughter, and a 14-year-old daughter. We give them a budget of what they were going to spend for that season. We give everyone their money in their bank account. But we ask them to make a decision what percentage of that money we gave them are they going to invest in their brokerage accounts. The 19-year-old works, so she invests in her Roth IRA. There's a percentage that has to be invested, at least 25% of all the money they get, right? There's a percentage that they have to give to charitable activities, and then they can spend the rest on their Christmas or whatever it is they want to get. We make them try to understand that yes, you want to take care of yourself and do some of the things that gives you joy, but don't forget to prepare for your tomorrow. Don't also forget to understand that things are fleeting. What really lasts is what lies in you. So the big question I have is, what is holding most people back? It's not an earning problem, it's a spending problem. Because we keep prioritizing things that are not important over our freedom, over the potential to build lasting wealth, over the potential to sacrifice for 10 years and continue to invest, for example, on the stock market to build a portfolio of $1 million, and that portfolio starts generating 10% in growth every year. And you can sit back a little bit and watch that thing explode and secure your life forever with the freedom you're looking for. So, the real question I have for you today, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Don't respond if you don't want to, but if you can't respond, but I want you to be honest. Are you one who is more focused on looking rich than becoming rich? So if you're tired of looking rich but living stressed every day because you wear the shoes so you know where it hurts, stick with me till the end of this live presentation. I will share a free masterclass which you can go watch, and the link is going to be in the description section, all right? But I'll talk a little bit about that free masterclass. But stick with me till the end here, guys. I want you to just stay with me. So the reality is, of course, the people who've been listening to me, you probably know my story by now, right? And you will be asking yourself, well, Gustav, you filed for bankruptcy, you foreclosed on 2 homes, many career changes, complete financial ruin, you found a way to rebuild yourself. But who are you to talk to us about wealth? And you are the right. I am doing that because I've been there. And if I can help you avoid some of those pitfalls, if I can help short track your process and buy you time and collapse time for you, that is the most important thing I'll be doing for you. I lost over 150,000 paying back debts to the bankruptcy court. I foreclosed on 2 homes. Yes, I switched when I came to America. I started as a nursing assistant. I moved on to become a nurse. I sold cars. I've been a director of marketing to one of the biggest network marketing companies in Africa, expanding in multiple markets over in Africa. I worked with them for 3 years, developing the market in Nigeria, in Congo, in Gabon. I came back to America broke and bankrupt. changed my career. I moved into the IT industry where I worked for the last 12 years. When I left the IT industry after my last job where I was fired, I told myself, I'm not going to do this for nobody no more. I'll do it for myself, for my people, and I'll keep talking about the things that will change lives because I've seen the light. I understand how it works. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to take what I'm taking from you as gospel. Use it if you want to. If you don't find value in it, it is fine. It is your life, it is your choice. The only thing I'm doing with my own life, my own choices, my own destiny is that I learn, I pass on the information, and I do what I say I'm going to do, and I'm seeing the results because my portfolio is growing, my life is getting better, I am getting less stressed, I'm getting happier, and I'm seeing that my future 10 generations of my children to come are going to also be talked about, like the Rockefellers, like all the other families that have built networks that are lasting generations to come. So, as an investor today, as a legacy architect, my number one priority is to help you get your mind, get your heart, and get your actions aligned in those activities that are going to take you to the destination of your dreams and your destiny. Because after going through all of the things I went through, this is what really changed for me. When I stopped chasing, when I stopped chasing at the shiny objects, because I started from zero, I was broke, I was uncertain, I was surviving paycheck to paycheck like everybody else, yes. But my turning point came when I realized no one is coming to save me. Nobody is. Nobody is coming to save you. You know what? Tears will only bring you sympathy, only sweat will bring you results. So I started paying myself first, guys. First thing I did, I told myself, Gustav, you got to pay yourself first. I don't care what it is, you got to pay yourself first. Before you pay anybody else, you got to pay yourself first. And paying myself first meant I had to prioritize myself. I had to prioritize my personal education. I had to prioritize my personal development. I had to prioritize investing in assets that are going to build wealth for me over time. It didn't matter the amount, it mattered the discipline. What was important was the desire. What was important was the determination and the unflinching, consistent effort to continue to do that in bad times, in good times, during the rainy season, during the dry season, when things get rough, when I get fired, when everything else doesn't work, I continue to do that. So I learned the rules, the simple rules which I teach in this very special class, which I'll be launching sometime in the couple of this in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. It is a very, very effective blueprint I teach on how to make, manage, multiply, protect, and perpetuate wealth forever. That's when I started learning these concepts on how to earn, how to save, how to invest, and how to reinvest, and how to continue doing that and building significant value. Of course, I started building my credit. Because of the bankruptcy, my credit went down to about 560. So I couldn't get a home. Rental properties, I had to rent a home for my family, and they'll require me to put down 3 times the amount of rent in caution, just because my credit was somewhere about 570. For more than 7 years, I couldn't buy anything on credit because when you file for bankruptcy, there's about a 7 year waiting period, 7 to 10 years. So for 7 years, I was locked out completely. Everything I had to do it with cash. Even though it was painful, but it taught me something too. It taught me how to live within my means, actually below my means. How to not worry about some things that are not really important, some things that are not really necessary to take you to the destination you're trying to go. I started focusing on purpose, not on popularity. I started focusing on building myself, not on appearing finished. I started focusing on embracing what I am challenged with, but also working on my strength and not my weaknesses. I started recognizing that instead of focusing on getting good at what I'm bad at, I rather get great at what I'm already good at. I started dedicating the majority of my time on the things that are expanding my mind, the things that are expanding my spirit, the things that are teaching me on ways to go forward and not only go forward, but to build in such a way that at a certain point in my life, I don't need to work out of my own desire. I don't need to work if I don't want to for nobody. That I can come and visit my daughter on getting married and I give them a check for $50,000 as their wedding gift. I want to be that kind of father. I want to be that kind of parent. And I know that is in the heart of a lot of people. A lot of immigrants who live in this country leave their countries, number one, for economic desire to get better. And then we get to a country where there's some opportunity, instead of sacrificing and building to the point where we can live like we like, we are instead starting to eat and forgetting about building. Guys, you need to understand, in order to live like nobody else, you have to, at a certain point, live like nobody else. I hope that makes sense. So listen, I have a free workbook. If you look down in the description of this video, it's called the Purpose to Profit Roadmap. That's a free workbook for you. You can download it. It will teach you how to align with your money, with your mission, your goals with your growth, and certainly your income with your impact. So you can look down in the description of this video and you can download that. That's a thank you for you for hanging out with me till this time. But you know what? In all of this, I learned a few lessons. In all of the high expense, high spending rate of the black economy today, spending $2 trillion, which is the spending power, which is more than Spain and Mexico, the GDP of Spain and Mexico, as I told you earlier. So we can no longer say we do not have money. I understand people are losing their jobs. Sometimes life is tough, but I want you to really understand this mindset, right? The truth is we are spending it wrong. We truly are. Flip that formula around. I want you to spend less than you make. That's the number one rule for wealth building. You must spend less than you make. 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 If you cannot afford to spend less than you make, you can never build wealth. Forget it. So find a way to spend less than you make. And one of the ways you spend less than you make, of course, is spending less than you make. The other way you can do it is to keep spending the same thing you're spending, but increase what you make so that the gap between what you spend and what you make becomes bigger. The third best way is to increase what you make and reduce what you spend. The gap becomes biggest, and then you have a lot more money to invest on the stock market and build wealth. The second, save and invest your money. And when I say save, I'm not talking just about going to put some money in a savings account in the bank and get paid 0.5% a year on that. That is wasting your money. There's a certain percentage of your money you have to save for your emergency fund. But other than that, the rest of your money should be invested in assets. And I'm not talking about investing in crazy business that your friend told you about, or investing in some scooter business because they say they are going to be paying you $14,000 a year, a month, or any week, or something like that. None of that crazy stuff. I'm talking about investing in companies that are proven on the US stock market. I'm talking about investing in the Microsoft, in the Nvidia, and by any means, I'm no financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you my opinion and the things I do. I'm talking about investing in trusted companies, in companies like Tesla, in ETFs like VTI, which is an overall market ETF. VTI stands for, I think it's Vanguard or Total Market ETF. It covers the complete US stock market. It has over 2,000 companies. So if you believe in the US economy, invest at least in the VTI. Don't worry about picking individual stocks yet if you don't know how to do it. That is for people who've educated themselves, are a little bit more advanced. And I teach all those things in my community. So if you like to learn how to invest, you like to continue investing, you like to learn how to build your wealth through investments on the market, in assets, and in the real estate industry, join my community. The link is down in the description, right? So learn to save and invest after you've learned to spend less and earn more. The next thing, delay gratification. Delay gratification, guys. Trust me. I was listening to some guy say it. He said it best. He's a millionaire, and there's a show called School of Hard Knocks by a young guy who you finished from the UT, University of Texas, and he interviews billionaires and millionaires how they made it. And this guy said something interesting. He said a lot of people strive for those things, but when you get it, you realize it wasn't what all the excitement. Because they were asking him, "Have you got the Lamborghini and all those things?" He said, "You know what? It's like a child. You get it, and after a few days, a few weeks, you get bored. and it just loses the excitement. Guys, delay gratification. That's one of the key pillars of wealth building, the ability to look at the things, especially in this season, and say, you know what? I'm not going to get it. That when I will be able to get it, I will not get it from the money I make working with my muscle. I'll get it from the money I've invested and the money that money I invested made. That's when I'm going to get it. That's how the smart people live. That's how you know that you've finally gotten to a place where you can start smelling financial freedom. When you are able to live off the returns of your investment, when you're able to live passively. And to get there, you have to spend less. You have to find a way to earn more for sure. You want to save and invest more. You want to delay gratification. And of course, you want to invest in buying assets, assets that appreciate over time, not liabilities, guys, not brand new cars, not brand new clothes, not brand shoes. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. Life is short. I understand. But understand also that the worst thing that can happen to you is that you get old, you get sick, and you don't have money. And you are sitting in a room full of the best suits, the best Louis Vuitton clothes. And the only story we can talk about you, this guy used to dress so well. This guy had so many nice cars. But now he needs to come to the community for them to contribute $10,000 to help him in the hospital. That is not good, guys. No, it's not good. No, it's not good. It is not good. We have to say these things. We have to talk about them openly, right? So I hope you're learning some lessons from this live stream, guys. I hope you are. If you are learning, let me see your comments down in the comment section, right? Just hang on a second. Let me see. Let me just open the live show. I haven't actually been. Let me see. Let me see your comments down in the comment section, right? Yes. So put your comments down in the comment section there. Let's see. Let's see how many of you are watching. What do you think, right? So we need to understand these are some of the lessons that are important. So my recommendation, imagine therefore what will happen if just 10% of black people started building wealth intentionally, started understanding the simple principles of wealth and applying it. Stop making excuses and just trying to do the best with what we have in our hands. Instead of crying and whining, we are educating ourselves, trying to earn more, increasing, improving our credit rating, investing in assets, educating ourselves on how the biggest economy in the world works. Understanding how capitalism works, how this economy works, why the richest people and the most successful people own things. They own assets, they don't own liabilities, they don't own stuff that doesn't add value, that doesn't grow in value. Why did they do that? Once you start understanding that, it changes the dynamics forever. Because that's when real change starts happening. Ask yourself, what's truly important to me? Am I willing to pay the price to get it? What is it that is important to you? Is it buying a home? Is it making sure that at retirement you have enough money? Is it making sure to educate your children very well? Is it making sure you can build a lasting legacy, a fund that your children can benefit from? Is it building a certain family story? Is it passing a certain mindset, a certain spiritual practice, a certain way of thinking within your family? Because when people talk about wealth, a lot of times people think only about money. Wealth is not only about money. If you look in my in my channel, you'll find a video I did about different forms of wealth. Go watch that video. It's going to help you. It's going to expand your mind. It's going to teach you about what wealth is truly is. Right? So what really matters to you? What is it that is important to you? And you are willing to pay the price for that, right? You are willing to make the sacrifice it takes for that. Because in this season, this is the end of the year. This is the season where people spend the most amount of money in the year on gifts and different things, right? Other than conventional expenses. This is also the season where people are most stressed. So don't stretch yourself if you don't have it. Build a budget. Be disciplined. Find a way to hold yourself together. Understand something, guys. Understand something. Giving when you don't have is not a sign of kindness. It's wickedness to yourself and your future generations. Let me tell you, I come from a big family. I come from a family of very generous people. My father is one of the most generous human beings I ever experienced on this earth. For people who know me, I've learned a lesson. Don't give without giving to your own self first. Whatever you want from people, give it to yourself first. Okay? Plan for your life. Invest in assets to protect yourself, to protect your future, to protect your destiny, to protect your family, to protect the people who are going to come after you. Of course, it goes without saying, you know that our children are not going to take care of us financially. Number one, for most of them, they have been born in different countries. Number two, they are not trained to take care of their parents like we were trained to take care of our own. And number three, it's going to be very unfair for us to put that burden on them. I sit here, I'm 6'4", 270 pounds. And I imagine that I get old today and maybe I'm wheelchair bound or I need some assistance and I have to count on my children for that. They have to spend their money for that. It's not going to be fair. They have their own life. They have their own children they have to raise. They have their own ambitions. They have their own businesses they will build and fail. They have their own families. They'll have their partners. They'll have their own things to do. The only thing I want them to think about me when they think about me is just come around for the love of their father, not because their father needs financial help. No, I don't want that. So to me, that's one of the things that is important to me. And I'm willing now to make sacrifices. I'm willing to postpone present enjoyment. I am willing to postpone present gratification because in the future, I don't want my children to worry about spending money on me. Because in the future, when I go visit my grandchildren, I want to be able to look at each of them. If it's the season when they're going back to school, I take out my checkbook, I write a check for $10,000 each, and I hand it to them to go give their mother, my daughter, to say, hey, this is what our grandfather gave us to buy books to go to school. I want to be in a position where my friends who are close to me and I'm close to them, if their children calls me up, uncle, I'm getting married in Monaco, I'm getting married in Kenya, I'm getting married in Morocco. Please, can you attend my wedding? I just need to ask them what the date is and I make sure my calendar allows me. It will never be a problem of an air ticket. It doesn't matter where I am. I will buy a business class air ticket immediately and I fly to go see them on their big day getting married. I don't want any of my grandchildren to go to college without me being present to take them to college. I don't want my great grandchildren to ever come alive. And when they hear about their great grandfather, they see the things he did, they see the things he left behind for them. They see a trust fund that exists to empower them, to give them the ability not to start from ground zero. That is what is important to me. So you define what is it that is important to you. Once you define those things, you start disciplining yourself towards actions that lead in that direction. That is how you build a life of meaning. That's how you build a life of purpose. That's how you build a life that you can bequeath a lasting legacy. It doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't. When you talk about budgeting, people think budgeting only applies to money. Budgeting applies to yourself. How much energy can you give away? I used to be, I'm a very social person, very social. But I realized I cannot give my energy out very easily anymore because it is the most valuable thing I have. I'm a professional MC. People pay me top dollar to come and do weddings, birthday parties, graduations, and all this great stuff. You know what? In this year 2025, I've only done about 10 events, and each of those events, people averagely pay me upwards of $7,000 to $8,000 to do each. I have to charge that much because not only of my experience, but because of the value I bring. That's the price I decide upon myself, is my price. So if you think I'm not worth that, that is fine. You don't have to hire me. But if you want to hire me, you believe I can bring that kind of value to you, then that's the price you pay. But now that helps me to manage my energy. That's how I budget my energy. So I don't go everywhere. I go only to places that gives me the most value for my time. So I want you to understand that concept too. When you're thinking of everything about your life, when you're thinking of where your money is going to, also think where your energy is going to. You want to be doing the things that gives you the most value. You want to be investing in the things that gives you the most value. And the things that gives you the most value when you invest in money are assets and not liabilities. Are things that grow in value and not things that drop in value. That's why, yes, you want to buy the nice things in life, you want to get the car, you want to get all those things. The first question you must always ask yourself, how am I paying for this? Am I paying for this from the hard-earned money from my sweat, or I am paying from this from money that has returned from investing in assets that generate money? Once you get to that point, guys, that is when you start knowing you're making some progress. But to get there, you have to be intentional. You have to be clear. You have to be focused, laser focused. If you are in your 20 listening to me right now, God has blessed you because you still have time. So start investing now. Somebody will start investing $100 at 20, and somebody who starts investing $500 at 35 will end up in the same place at the age of 65. Even though the one investing $100 started at 20 and the other one at 35 started 10 years later, even though they invested 5 times more than the 20-year-old, but they were not still able to beat the 20-year-old at the age of 65. That's the power of time. If you're in your 30s, understand that you're no longer a child. You don't have as much time as you think. You better get going. Life happens fast. If you're in a 40, it's starting to be an emergency. You must focus on investing in your destiny. You must focus on investing for your future. Don't joke. I am not saying this to scare nobody. I'm just being serious and honest here. Don't joke. Don't count on nobody. Don't count on no God GoFundMe. In the community I come from, we do a lot of GoFundMe, do a lot of charitable events to raise money for people. A friend dies or the friend parent dies, they raise money. When my father died, the community came out very strong. Raised money, sent me a lot of money. And I do the same for other people when their parents die, when there are some challenging situations, even in happy situations, when people are having children, people are having weddings and things like that. But let's not mistake that for an obligation. Don't. A GoFundMe doesn't replace life insurance. A GoFundMe doesn't replace investment assets. Don't do that. Don't expose your children to ridicule. Don't be one of those who tomorrow has some challenges and the family has to be begging for help. I understand sometimes there's legitimate reasons for that. I empathize with those people. But if you can work, you are legitimately working, you are making an income. Come on now, you got to find a way to invest. You got to find a way to plan. You got to find a way to discipline yourself a little bit. Postpone some of those present enjoyment. Understand that a lot of the things you aspire for, you're dreaming you need to have now. The truth is that you're not trying to have them now because it really gives you deep satisfaction. If you're honest with yourself, you're trying to have them now because of the way it makes you think that people think about you. I want you to be honest. Look at me straight in the face. It is how it makes you feel and think that people think about you. And a lot of times in life, hear this from me, a lot of times people are always trying to make up for that gap in perception, where they are and where they want people to believe they are at that time. And that gap in perception is what buys your future and destroys it. That gap in perception you're trying to fill is what you fill in with debt. That gap in perception you're trying to fill is what you feel in trying to buy things you cannot afford, but to prove to people who don't care that you are better. That gap in perception is what makes you anxious. That gap in perception is what makes you do 4 or 5 jobs and you're not able to save and invest a lot of money from those jobs. You are instead spending it to present a perception. That gap in perception is a killer. And I want you to look at your own soul and identify that gap. And when you identify that gap, start teaching yourselves, start reconditioning your mind that that gap is a deceptive gap because it doesn't define you. What defines you is the peace you go to sleep at night with. What defines you is the confidence you have of your future. What defines you is the deep, certain belief that people who are coming after you will always remember your last name. What defines you is the fact that generations to come will always benefit something from the legacy you build, whether it's in money, whether it's in books you publish, whether it's in videos you do to live to educate people like I'm doing, whether it's building family traditions, whether it's community building, whether it's building a massive business which employs people and can also serve as a community business. Whatever you're doing, you must think about impact. You must think about closing that gap. You must think about eliminating the need to impress. You must think about eliminating the need to try to appear who you are not. We black people suffer from that inferiority complex a lot. We black people believe that we must always try to present ourselves a certain way. There is a lot of history to that. You can go watch videos of some top psychologists and some top social psychologists. They've done some good work on things like that. And you will understand better. That's why education matters. Educating yourself. I'm not talking about formal education in the classroom. I'm talking about paying intentional attention to educating your mind, listening to tapes, listening to videos, listening to things that gives you knowledge. Because when you don't know yourself, you don't know your history, you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know what defines you, you will never know where you're going. There's a reason why the black person struggles economically. There are things that have been put in place historically to hurt. I understand that. But in this time and age, a lot of the hurt is self inflicted. Our spending habits. And that's what I've been spending the last hour talking about in this live stream. I hope you found some value in this. I hope you found some value in this stream. And if you did, leave me a comment down in the comment section. Let me know you joined me this evening, afternoon, night, whatever part of the world it is for you watching, right? And just check down in the in the description section of this video. I have a different links there. You can join my community. And if you're serious about changing your life, you're serious about changing your destiny, book a one-on-one call with me. Let's have a 30 minutes chat. We'll be able to understand your circumstance and we'll build a customized one-on-one plan to help you get from where you are right now to where you aspire to be. Because the only way change will come to you is by seeking for the things you don't know from people who know. Let me tell you that. You know, in school, the first parts of your life, you're going to be a pupil, you are going to be a student, and you're going to be dealing with teachers, with professors, with lecturers. But once you finish school and you start working or you start doing business, you no longer have teachers or lecturers. You have mentors and coaches. And just like you were paying school fees when you were a student, even in the life of not being a student but working or entrepreneurship, you'll still be paying coaching fees. You'll be paying mentorship fees because they are the things, these are the three ships that are going to take you to the next level in your life. Mentorship, that is one of them. The ability to look up and have somebody who is there guide you in that direction. That is one of the things that is going to take you very, very, very far in your life. So I hope you found some very, very valuable information in this. If this made sense to you, share it with somebody. If it doesn't make sense to you, discard it. Move on with your life. I still wish you all the best. And if I don't see you anytime soon, I'll see you in the next video. And by all means, I will see you at the top. But I want to remind you that I don't know you personally. I might never have a chance to meet you. But I'm glad for the opportunity that we are interacting on YouTube today. But I don't know how you were brought up. I don't know how you grew up. The circumstances that have reframed your mind, spirit, and emotions. But I want to remind you that no matter what was spoken upon your life, what was spoken in your ears, what you were made to believe, that you are not capable, that you are not strong, that you are not smart, that you may not be able to achieve what you aspire to in life, I want to remind you that's a big fat lie because you are enough. You are capable, I believe. You are strong enough. You have the ability. You have the zeal, the desire. It's within your control. It's for you to make that one decision in your life and say, you know what? I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to change the destiny. I want to change the trajectory of my life. And it ends with me and today. Guys, until the next time, I'll see you in the next video. Be well, be blessed, and by all means, never stop being a blessing to somebody. Until the next time,